Today we're going to talk about games I want to see on the Switch 2. And I'm not going to be mentioning games that appeared in one of our recent videos called the Realistic Switch 2 Launch Games. These games are a bit more speculative in nature. Now, I do think it's worth saying that most, if not all, these games will probably get entries during the Switch 2 lifespan, but as of the recording of this, there's nothing official about their releases. I'm starting with Yoshi. This would be Game 3 in the mini Yoshi revival. Yoshi thrived on handhelds for decades, but the Wii U gave Yoshi a triumphant return to consoles with Yoshi's Woolly World. Its sequel, Crafted World on Switch, didn't receive the same love as its Wii U counterpart, but I still enjoyed playing it with my wife. I don't know why, but I've always viewed this series as a trilogy. I'm really hoping we get a third installment on the Switch. It's one of my favorite 2D side-scrollers. It's one of my favorite co-op series. I love the art direction of these games. Honestly, I love just about everything there is to say about Yoshi's Woolly World and Crafted World, so I'm definitely rooting for a third installment on the Switch 2. Another franchise I'd love to see again is Star Fox. I've said before, Yoshi is my favorite Nintendo character, but Star Fox is my favorite character design. I also believe he had a solid outing in basically every one of his games. Two of the standouts to me were Star Fox Adventures and of course Star Fox 64. I don't even hate Star Fox Zero personally. He basically sat out all of the Switch's lifespan, which I think is a complete shame. I'd love to see him back in some hybrid shoot-'em-up adventure game. I think you could take the shoot-'em-up sections from Star Fox, the open-world aspects of Breath of the Wild, and maybe some space exploration / RPG elements of Starfield. I know conventional wisdom is to just get Star Fox back to his roots and be another N64 clone, but that didn't even save Star Fox Zero, so I say just reinvent the guy. Star Fox Adventures may not be a true Star Fox game, but it's just a really solid game in general. I would take another on-rail shooter. I'm sure it would be great, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Star Fox can be so much more in this day and age. Now, speaking of that Switch 2 realistic launch title video, we said we wouldn't be getting a Kirby 3D adventure game, and I still believe that. I think eventually we will get the sequel to Forgotten Lands, but not right away. I think it's way more likely that we get a 2D side-scrolling adventure. In my launch title video, I mentioned we could get a port of a 3DS game. I still think this also could happen, but I'm kind of feeling a new 2D adventure game. Like, yes, would I love Triple Deluxe or would I love Planet Robobot? Yeah, absolutely. I would love to play those on this new Switch console, but I also wouldn't complain getting a brand new Kirby game. And since I don't think it's going to be a 3D adventure game, I'm perfectly fine getting a 2D side-scroller while we wait for the next 3D adventure for Kirby. Alright, I'm a big fan of Pokemon, even if the new games kind of get dunked on. Legend ZA is a given for the Switch 1, but Game Freak's plans for the Switch 2 is still unclear at the moment. How about a new entry in another spin-off? I think a lot of people would love Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, myself included. We got a remake of the first one on Switch, and I thought for sure this would lead to a revival for the spin-off. But sadly, it's been crickets, and that came out in, 2020 or so? Two more spin-offs that I'll throw out, a third Pokemon Coliseum game, or even a third Pokepark game. These are definitely two of my favorite spin-offs in the Pokeverse. I think they even rival some of the mainline entries. There's a lot of Pokemon spin-offs to keep up with. You can watch my video over the last time we saw each Pokemon franchise here. Lastly today, I'm going to talk about Zelda. This video has been more speculative and wishful thinking. That's why I've avoided obvious ones. Like, I'm pretty sure we're going to get Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem games, so I didn't even bother mentioning them. Or like a new 3D Mario game. It's just kind of a given. Well, Zelda also feels like a given too, right? But which Zelda? I think that's where the conversation opens up. I've seen an outpouring for Link to the Past getting an HD 2D remake. Obviously, Switch fans are still thinking Wind Waker or Twilight Princess could happen, and then there's us boomers still wishing for Ocarina of Time. I really struggle with which one to pick. When I started writing this video, I was convinced I would say Ocarina of Time. It's my favorite Zelda game, and I'd absolutely be thrilled if it got announced. However, for the sake of this video, I think I'm going to go with Wind Waker. Wind Waker is my second favorite Zelda game, and I had a tough time picking between the 4 games I mentioned earlier. Ocarina of Time and Link to the Past are technically playable on Switch Online service, which I assume carries over to the Switch too, but I'm not sure if I've actually officially heard whether it will or not. But that was kind of the tiebreaker here. While fans of the other 2, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, would need a GameCube or Wii U to play. So again, that's kind of how I decided to rule out Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. When it got down to Twilight Princess or Wind Waker, it really was take your pick. They're both great. I love both of their adventures, but it is kind of like, do you want the slow, monotonous Wolf Link parts, or do you want the slow, monotonous, sprawling ocean traversal? I think both would be welcome additions on the Switch too, but if you had to ask me which one I'd rather play right this second, it's Wind Waker out of the 2, right? But of course, like I said, Ocarina of Time, HD port or whatever, would be phenomenal. So, which speculative games are you looking forward to? In the comments, try to avoid saying games that are just kind of given or are already confirmed even. I could have went on to say, like, give us a new 3D Donkey Kong game like Donkey Kong 64, or why don't we revive Chibi Robo and give him a shot on an actual console, right? He's been relegated to, I think, mobile in Japan, and a couple of handhelds were his last actual games. There's still plenty of franchises that are up in the air. And if you're wondering when the last time we saw each major Nintendo franchise was, hey, I did a video over that too. Feel free to check it out. Either way, thank you guys for watching and subscribing. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.